Gunther shockingly defeats Jey Uso to become a two-time WWE World Heavyweight Champion on Raw last night. CM Punk confronts John Cena, leading to a match being made official for Night of Champions in Saudi Arabia for the WWE Championship. R-Truth returns to Raw, cuts his hair and introduces the WWE Universe to Ron Killings. Bayley returns to Raw, attacking Women's Intercontinental Champion Becky Lynch. The brackets for the men's King of the Ring as well as Queen of the Ring tournament, culminating a Night of Champions, has been unveiled. Speaking of the tournament, Sami Zayn advances in the men's King of the Ring tournament, whilst Roxanne Perez advances in the women's Queen of the Ring tournament. Liv Morgan confronts WWE Hall of Famer Nikki Bella on Raw, hitting her with Oblivion. Pat McAfee misses Raw on Monday, with Wade Barrett filling in for him. A video package airs on Raw for AAA star Mr. Iguana after his popularity at Worlds Collide over the weekend, and several matches and segments, including a major return, are set for next week's edition of Raw on Netflix. Hey guys, welcome back to Wrestling News 365. Hope everyone is doing very well. As always, there are plenty of news stories to get into in the world of professional wrestling. Before we begin, you can see right there, we're at 22,337 subscribers. So if you haven't already, be sure to subscribe and join the ever-expanding WNU, that being the Wrestling News universe. In addition, you can become a member of the WN365 roster. All you have to do is scan that QR code right there on the sidebar. You get your badges, your emojis, and your exclusive members-only content. Let's begin with a action-packed and newsworthy episode of Raw last night as we get closer to Night of Champions in Saudi Arabia and of course SummerSlam later on this summer too, beginning with a brand new WWE World Heavyweight Champion. Following his tag team win over Logan Paul and John Cena at WWE Money in the Bank, Jey Uso had a tough task on Monday's episode of Raw as he once again squared off with Gunther for the World Heavyweight Championship. This was Gunther's rematch after losing the title to Uso at WrestleMania 41. After a lengthy main event match, Gunther and Uso traded sleeper holds for an extended period of time, allowing the ring general to eventually make Uso pass out with the submission. Gunther ended the show by celebrating with the title as Uso and his son sat in defeat at ringside. Now, with this defeat, Uso's title reign comes to an end at the 52-day mark. Throughout his stint with the title, Uso defended the title against names such as Seth Rollins and Logan Paul. What are your thoughts on this shocking title change? Did you expect it? Didn't you expect it? Are you happy with it? And how would you grade Jey Uso's world title reign now it's come to an end? Let me know your thoughts about it in the comment section below. Now, it felt like it was 2011 all over again, didn't it? We saw CM Punk and John Cena face off last night on Monday Night Raw, and CM Punk versus Cena is now set for Night of Champions. Cena opened Monday Night Raw after coming out on the losing end of a tag team match alongside Logan Paul and Jey Uso and Cody Rhodes at Money in the Bank, highlighting that he has just 19 dates before calling a close on his in-ring career, and thus a limited amount of time for someone to end his run as the last real world champion. He lambasted the audience for their role in the return of Ron Killings and said he would never be used as a platform for a pity party to a departing star that would lose interest in a year. Killings, of course, emerged to interfere in Cena and Paul's match against Uso and Rhodes, ultimately allowing Rhodes to pin Cena to win the match, following universal backlash to the news of his imminent departure from the company. CM Punk then emerged to confront Cena, clarifying that he was not there to defend the company, but rather he wanted to defend the people. He said that he was picked by the people in 2011 to become the voice of the voiceless, tipping his hat to Killings, as he said when the fans want truth, they get Ron Killings. He then made the challenge for Cena's undisputed WWE Championship, offering for the champion to pick one of his 19 dates left, but urging him to do it later on the night. Cena instead chose Night of Champions, telling Punk that if he wants the shot, he will have to go to Saudi Arabia. Now, Punk has yet to work a Saudi event since returning to the WWE in November of 2023, having been outspoken against WWE and the Kingdom's relationship, of course, with that infamous tweet to The Miz. Now, before CM Punk could answer, Seth Rollins' music hit, and he emerged to close the segment, watching on, Money in the Bank briefcase raised forward. But it was confirmed later on in the evening that indeed these two legendary rivals will meet in Saudi Arabia for the undisputed WWE Championship. It has now been confirmed. As I mentioned in the segment, the match was conspicuously left unconfirmed by the end of the segment, with Mr. Money in the Bank Seth Rollins making his entrance, closing the segment by brandishing his cash-in contract. Raw General Manager Adam Pearce took to social media after the segment, polling fans as to whether the match should be made official. But since then, the match has been made official, with the match graphic posted on X prior to the end of the show saying, quote, "It is official. Cena versus Punk, undisputed WWE Championship, Night of Champions," the announcement reads. Now, the scheduled match between Punk and Cena is due to be their first in 12 years, last wrestling on an episode of Monday Night Raw for the opportunity at The Rock for the WWE Championship at WrestleMania 29. It's also been 14 years since Punk famously dethroned Cena as the WWE Champion at Money in the Bank. They shared a ring earlier this year in the Elimination Chamber, with Cena last eliminating Punk to secure the opportunity that eventually saw him dethrone Rhodes at WrestleMania 41. Now, Ron Killings is back in WWE, the former R-Truth. R-Truth may have returned to help World Heavyweight Champion Jey Uso and Cody Rhodes at Money in the Bank, but it was Ron Killings to speak to the crowd in Phoenix, Arizona during Raw on Monday. Following the return of Bayley during a segment involving Women's Intercontinental Champion Becky Lynch and Lyra Valkyria, which we'll talk about later on, Killings appeared dressed in all black from the crowd and jumped on the commentary desk to cut a promo. He started out by telling the crowd not to let anyone tell them that their voices didn't matter. He said they, meaning the WWE higher-ups, heard and listened, and said Killings said he was back because of the crowd. He said not only did they bring back truth, he paused and told them, "You got me." Quote, "Now, we all love R-Truth," Killing said. "I love R-Truth too. But R-Truth can be too funny all the time. R-Truth can be too nice, and he's too forgiving. Not me." He said he felt different and he felt alive. He started to mention anyone who thought he was just a sideshow act or a gimmick, like Cena called him in the opening promo of Raw, before he pulled out a pair of scissors and cut his hair in 3 snips to an absolutely shocked crowd and holy shit chants. Quote, "R-Truth, the truth has set me free. I am Ron Killings. I am the truth, the whole truth and nothing but the truth. Now put some respect on my name," Killings said, before leaving through the crowd once again. It wasn't the only return on Raw, as we saw Bayley back on WWE television as well. Bayley made her return on the June 9th episode of Raw, attacking Becky Lynch. The new WWE Women's Intercontinental Champion managed to escape before getting hit with the Rose Plant. Of course, Becky attacked Bayley at WrestleMania 41 Saturday, paving the way for Becky to team with Lyra Valkyria at WrestleMania 41 Sunday to win the Women's Tag Team titles. Becky turned on Lyra one night later after losing the Women's Tag Team Championships, and then defeated her for the Women's Intercontinental Championship at WWE Money in the Bank. Now we have the brackets for the King and Queen of the Ring tournament. Let's begin with the King of the Ring tournament. WWE revealed the bracket for the 2025 King of the Ring during the June 9th episode of WWE Monday Night Raw. There will be 2 fatal 4-way matches, one from each brand on both sides of the bracket. The 2 winners will meet in the semi-finals, and the winners of that will face in the finals at WWE Night of Champions. On one side of the bracket, it sees Sami Zayn, Penta, Bron Breakker, and Dominic Mysterio in the Raw Fatal 4-Way. The winner of that match will face the winner of Randy Orton versus LA Knight versus Aleister Black versus Carmelo Hayes from the SmackDown Fatal 4-Way. The other side of the bracket sees Cody Rhodes, Damian Priest, Andrade, and Shinsuke Nakamura in the SmackDown Fatal 4-Way, and Sheamus, Rusev, Big Bronson Reed, and a mystery opponent on the Raw side of things. Of course, the winner of the King of the Ring tournament will receive a world title match at WWE SummerSlam later on this year. Now, in terms of the Queen of the Ring tournament bracket, that has also been revealed by WWE last night on Raw. WWE revealed the bracket of the 2025 Queen of the Ring during the June 9th episode of WWE Raw. There will be 2 fatal 4-way matches from each brand on both sides of the bracket. The 2 winners will meet in the semi-finals, and the winners of that will face in the finals at Night of Champions. One side of the bracket sees Rhea Ripley, Kairi Sane, Liv Morgan, and Roxanne Perez battle in the Raw Fatal 4-Way. The winner of that match will face the winner of Jade Cargill versus Mitchin versus Piper Niven versus Nia Jax from the SmackDown Fatal 4-Way. The other side of the bracket pits Charlotte Flair against Alexa Bliss, Chelsea Green, and Candice LeRae in the SmackDown Fatal 4-Way. On Raw, a returning Asuka will be up against Stephanie Vaquer, Raquel Rodriguez, and Ivy Nile in a 4-way match. Of course, the winner of Queen of the Ring will receive a World Title match at SummerSlam as well. Now, speaking of that, you would have just heard Asuka. She is on her way back to WWE. Asuka will be making her long-awaited return to the ring following a lengthy absence due to injury in the Queen of the Ring tournament. The Empress of Tomorrow will compete in a fatal four-way match that is set for next week's episode of Raw. She is set to take on Raw's newest member, former NXT Women's Champion Stephanie Vaquer, one half of the Women's Tag Team Champions Raquel Rodriguez, and Ivy Nile in the first round. Asuka has been on the sideline since suffering a knee injury that required surgery back in May of 2024. Her last match was a defeat alongside Kairi Sane, where they lost the Women's Tag Team Championships to Bianca Belair and Jade Cargill. And we got our first action in both tournaments last night. Let's begin with the King of the Ring tournament because Sami Zayn is moving on in the tournament. The first matchup in this year's tournament took place on the June 9th episode of Raw as Sami Zayn and Dominic Mysterio and Bron Breakker and Penta battled it out in a fatal four-way contest. The finishing sequence of the match was a very hectic one as Bron Breakker went full speed and destroyed Penta with a spear on the outside of the ring. Moments later, LA Knight appeared from the crowd and took out Breakker with his BFT finisher. On the inside of the ring, Sami Zayn took advantage of the situation, nailing Mysterio with his Aluva Kick finisher to score the victory. With this win, Zayn will now face the winner of a future tournament match between Randy Orton, LA Knight, Carmelo Hayes, and Aleister Black. When it comes to the Women's Queen of the Ring tournament, Roxanne Perez, she has advanced as well. Now, this year's tournament kicked off on the June 9th episode of WWE Raw, with Roxanne Perez, Rhea Ripley, Kairi Sane, and Liv Morgan facing off in a fatal four-way match. After a fast-paced contest, Roxanne Perez ended up scoring the shock win. The finishing sequence saw Perez roll Kairi Sane into a jackknife pin just moments after she hit Liv Morgan with a signature elbow drop. With this win, Roxanne Perez will face the winner of a future tournament match between Jade Cargill, Nia Jax, Michin, and Piper Niven. Speaking of Liv Morgan, she made a statement last night on Raw because Nikki Bella, of course, is back. The June 9th edition of Raw featured a huge return for the fans of the Bella twins as Nikki Bella graced Phoenix with her presence as the company begins to build towards the All-Women's Evolution Premium Live event later on next month. Bella started her promo by hyping up the importance of the Premium Live event and hyping up various stars before being interrupted by a furious Liv Morgan. Morgan stormed to the ring and rambled about her achievements and records, saying that she would have been champion during Bella's era as well. Morgan also took issue with Bella not mentioning her during her promo. Then Morgan made it personal, saying Bella must just be jealous of her because she has everything she doesn't, including respect, a title, and a man. Bella questioned the last part of Morgan's response, bringing up uncertain nature that surrounds Roxanne Perez. Bella attempted to leave the ring, but Morgan drew her back in with a comment about her being a reality show diva. Morgan took advantage of the situation, taking Bella out with her Oblivion finisher. Of course, we get any more details as to where this storyline is going, we'll let you know in a future video. Now, if you watched Raw last night, you would have noticed that Pat McAfee was absent. The former Intercontinental Champion Wade Barrett made the save, and he gave up his blue brand loyalties for one night on Monday's episode of Raw, teaming with Michael Cole to fill in for Pat McAfee on commentary. Cole announced McAfee's absence after the opening segment. Cole, Barrett, and McAfee were all on the call for WWE Money in the Bank over the weekend. Now, we did see some AAA influence last night on Monday Night Raw. Mr. Iguana was one of the biggest stars coming out of WWE and AAA Worlds Collide, and WWE is seemingly capitalizing on his popularity. A Mr. Iguana video package aired on the June 9th episode of Raw, highlighting him and his Iguana. Mr. Iguana was one of the most liked WWE social media posts over the weekend, which also included highlights from WWE Money in the Bank. Mr. Iguana teamed with Aerostar and Octagon Jr. against Lince Dorado and the LWO at WWE and AAA Worlds Collide. And finally, several matches and segments are confirmed for next week's episode of WWE Monday Night Raw on Netflix. Two big tournament matches have been announced for the show. In the King of the Ring tournament, Sheamus, Rusev, Bronson Reed, and a mystery opponent will face off in a first-round matchup. The winner of that match will face the winner of a separate tournament match between Cody Rhodes, Damian Priest, Andrade, and Shinsuke Nakamura. In the Queen of the Ring tournament, Asuka, Ivy Nile, Stephanie Vaquer, and Raquel Rodriguez will clash in a first-round contest. The winner of that match will face the the victor of a separate tournament match between Charlotte Flair, Chelsea Green, Alexa Bliss, and Candice LeRae. But there you go, guys, the latest pro wrestling news for you. Be sure to smash a like on the like button. Be sure to subscribe, as you can see right there. We're at 22,337 subscribers. So if you haven't already, be sure to subscribe. Join the ever-expanding WNU. You can scan that QR code right there on the sidebar and become members of the WN365 roster. You get your badges, your emojis, and your exclusive members-only content. Appreciate everyone for tuning in, and I'll speak to you again very, very soon.
Hey guys, thank you for watching, listening, streaming, or however you come across this video today. Be sure to click on the video on the right there to watch our next video, or click the bottom there to subscribe, or the bottom right hand corner. Thank you very much, and I'll speak to you again very soon.